has for a lot of work as well.
It's been needed, so. All right. I think it's about time. We've got 1 minute left. I don't believe that's time to even get into the next agenda item.
Just to update the Planning Commission on that one, since there was a question on that, they did add a note to the plat to require a shared entrance between the two lots at the time of development for the location to be determined at a later date. So there's no easements or anything, but there is a note on the plat that says that both lots will share an access on 31. I think that was the only comment from the work session.
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else? All right, we're going to close this work session and we'll convene our regular meeting. Carol, your roll call, please.
Gant, Lemoyne, Diamond, Vaughn, Lindsay, Smith,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Lazenby, McMillan.
Here.
Thank you, Carol. I'd like to ask everybody to please stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance. David, do you mind leading us, please, sir?
Father, we thank you for everything you give us, and we thank you for the opportunity and privilege to live in this community. And Father, I ask that you bless each person that's here and give them the wisdom to make the decisions that are right for this community. And Father, we thank you for the citizens that are here tonight that love their community and expressing their concern and exercising their rights here. And Father, we just thank you that we live in a country where we have the right to come speak and be heard. And Father, we thank you for those people that protect those freedoms that we exercise. And Father, we just ask that you continue to bless this community as we go through this summer. Keep us safe. And also our state and national governments, and the world is a dangerous place, but we know that you are in control and that we have faith and comfort in knowing that. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, David. All right, do we have a city council report?
Yes, sir. Give me just a sec here. I did actually miss the last meeting, but I watched it online, as I'm sure everybody did, right? So there were a few things. Oddly enough, everything I'm going to report to you were recommendations passed on to the city council by this planning commission. There was a rezoning of property adjacent to Faith Family from an R1 to B3. From R1 to B2. It was originally requested to be 3, but at the recommendation of this planning commission, the council rezoned to B2. There was also an update or a couple of updates to the zoning ordinance. One to define the rules about EV charging stations, as previously mentioned. Also, regarding laydown yards along the causeway during the construction phase of the new bridge project, and also the what we called the revisionary clause, where properties rezoned from R1 to B2, 3, or 4 are not subject to that typical 12-month time limit as they have been in the past.
Thank you, Kurt. Mayor, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just one quick thing. This Wednesday, 10 a.m., Loyalty Dog Park will have a grand opening. We encourage everyone to come. It's a beautiful park. It's been a long time coming to build a dog park, but it took us a while to get it right. So we're very proud of that. It's Huckleberry Lane. If you cross 31 right here and go on Wayside Drive, the first street on the right, we'd love to have everybody there.
All right, thank you, Mayor. All right, we have some minutes to get approved. April 28th work session, May 12th work session, and May 12th regular session. Do we have any errors or changes need to be noted? All right, minutes stand approved as written. All right, we have some old business here. We have agenda item 241001, application for site plan approval for a new convenience store on Stagecoach Road and Spanish Fort Boulevard. The applicant is Sun Engineering and Construction Management Corp. on behalf of Bay Shore Oil, Inc. Casey, I believe we're postponing that due to deficient data and everything that we needed, correct?
Yes, there's still a few items on this one that need to be addressed. They appear to be working in the right direction, but still have a few comments that need to be addressed on site. some of that having to do with access, and I know that they've been meeting with the neighboring property owners to try to figure that out. So we hope to get updates from them in the near future and hopefully have an update for you the next meeting.
All right, hopefully we'll be able to take that up at our next regular work session then. All right, we have agenda item 250303. This is application for site plan approval. True by Hilton, Site 1, Lot 6D, Eastern Shore Center, BSI Inc. on behalf of RAM Spanish Fort Hospitality LLC. Casey, staff report, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this application is proposing to construct a new 98-room, 4-story hotel with required parking and utilities on a 7.91-acre parcel located on Eastern Shore Center, in the Eastern Shore Center along Eastern Shore Boulevard, directly south of the movie theater. The site is proposed will include a building area of 11,437 square feet, 100 total parking spaces, landscape and utility improvements, and traffic improvements. Subject property is currently zoned B5 Hotel Motel. And as we discussed in the work session, the site plan itself has been revised. Everything has been submitted and has been, all the comments have been accounted for. There are still a few comments that we do have in the landscaping plan that was submitted late last week. So based on discussions at the work session, it'd be our recommendation, if the Planning Commission is open to it, to schedule a special meeting for this agenda item and the next one, to hopefully work out the landscape plan and have something to approve at that one.
All right, so the landscape plan also applies to the next agenda item? Okay. All right.
It's this
Alright.
agenda item and the next are on the same site, but they're running as different site plans.
All right, we'll open it up for discussion. Anybody have anything? All right, y'all up for a special meeting then at our before? Okay. All right, well, we'll schedule that then. We'll go ahead and plan on having a special meeting, David, at 6 o'clock before our next regular meeting.
Yes, sir. If you're inclined to
Okay,
postpone it, I would suggest that you announce the special meeting at 6 o'clock. And so immediately following that, you would begin your work session, which would also be set for 6. And just as an announcement, that it's being postponed to the next special meeting or regularly held meeting by the Planning Commission. So the idea is to bring it up there and it'll be posted as well.
Okay, we don't need to vote on this special meeting. Okay, I don't think so. All
So
right.
you have to call the chairman.
All right, we'll move along then. We have agenda item 250403, application for land use approval. This is for an EV charging station at 30223 Eastern Shore Court. The applicant is GPD Group Professional Corporation on behalf of Tesla, Inc. Casey, your staff report, please, sir.
Casey asked me if I could do that one. And this is a land use application or for approval. This was submitted early on as a request, basically to determine whether or not EV charging stations were allowed. It was determined that the zoning ordinance did not have appropriate regulations as it relates to that and did not, in the table of permitted uses, say where they were clearly allowed. So you all went through a public hearing process, made a recommendation to the City Council to amend the zoning ordinance to create special provisions and allow these charging stations in the districts in accordance with those regulations. The City Council approved those amendments and additional regulations to the zoning ordinance at its last meeting. And so therefore, now we know that it's allowed by right, subject to the submission and meeting those requirements and the special provisions. And so what will happen at this point in time is the applicant will be informed that they need to submit a site plan for review. So there's no action to be taken at this point in time because it's allowed by right, as long as they meet those requirements.
Okay. All right. All right, so we can move along then. All right. We have new business now, and we have numerous public hearings coming up on under our new business agenda. So each one of them will be the same format. So if anybody here wishes to speak on a particular agenda item as it comes up, as I call it, if you would go over there to Carol and print your name and address, and I'll call on you. Come up to the podium and push the button on the microphone, state your name and address, and we'll be glad to hear from you. So that will be, I'll call that for each and every individual agenda item that has a public hearing. So you don't come up to, if we're not working on that particular agenda item, then don't come up and sign that sheet at that time. All right, we have agenda item 250601, application for zoning change. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's from an R1 to a B2. It's Lot 3B, re-subdivision of Lot 3, Ember Lane, Professional Park. And the applicant is Carlos Covo. Casey, your staff report, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this applicant is proposing to rezone the approximately half-acre parcel located directly to the north of Gulf Coast Dance Alliance on the east side of Ember Lane, from the current zoning of R1 low-density single-family residential to B2 local business. The proposed use for the application has been given as commercial. The property was previously rezoned to B2 local business, but has since reverted back to its original zoning due to no established use on the property following the zoning change. The existing conditions within the vicinity of the subject property are a mixture of local business type uses, park/public property, and residential towards the end of the north end of Ember Lane. Due to the existing uses in the surrounding area and the property's proximity to existing business uses and frontage on Ember Lane, this application is expected to have little to no impact on the area. The subject property is identified on the comprehensive plan's future land use map as professional and local business. Staff has examined the details of the application and confirmed that all necessary documentation is complete and present. Due to the general conformity of the proposed zoning to the surrounding area, the previous zoning of the property to the proposed, and conformity with the comprehensive plan's future land use map, staff feels there is sufficient evidence in support of agreement to rezone the subject parcel as submitted. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding agenda item 250601, application for zoning change from R1 to B2 for PIN number 347919, Lot 3B, re-subdivision of Lot 3, Ember Lane Professional Park.
All right, thank you, Casey. We'll open it up for discussion with the commission. Any discussion? All right, discussion is closed. We'll have our public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on this agenda item? No? All right, public hearing's closed. Any discussion? All right, do I have a motion?
Motion that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding agenda item 250601.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Carol, please.
Diamond? Lindsay? Smith?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Lazenby? McMillan?
Yes.
All right, motion's approved. All right, we have agenda item 250602, application for zoning change. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's from a R1 to a B1. The location is 10021 US 31. The applicant is Renaissance Corporation. Casey, staff report, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this applicant is proposing to rezone the approximately 1 acre parcel located at the northeast corner of AL 181 and US 31 from the current zoning of R1 low density single family residential to B1 professional business. The proposed use for the application has been given as retail banking facility and is expected to remain unchanged from the existing use. The property was recently annexed into the city limits as part of the most recent legislative annexation and was annexed as R1 with an existing use as a bank. Since the existing use of the property is expected to remain unchanged and the proposed zoning will be in compliance with the current use, the application is expected to have little to no impact to the area. The subject property is not identified on the comprehensive plan's future land use map as it was outside the city limits at the time of the map's creation. The staff has examined the details of the application and confirmed that all necessary documentation is complete and present. Without the availability of guidance from the current comprehensive plan future land use map, the proposed zoning does appear to be aligned more in conformity to the current use of the property as well as the existing uses in the surrounding area. For this reason, staff feels there is sufficient evidence in support of agreement to rezone the subject parcel as submitted. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding agenda item 250602, application for zoning change from R1 to B1 for 10021 US 31.
All right, thank you, Casey. All right, we'll open it up for discussion. Discussion is closed. We'll have our public hearing. Anybody here wish to speak on this agenda item? All right, public hearing's closed. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding agenda item 250602.
All right, do we have a second? Nancy? Roll call, please, Carol.
Diamond,
Yes.
Lindsay, Smith,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lazenby, McMillan.
Yes.
All right, motion's approved. Have agenda item 250603. This is an application for zoning change. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's from an R2 to an R4. It's Lot 2 Ogletree subdivision, Spanish Oaks Drive West. The applicant is Blake Bishop. KCU staff report, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this applicant is proposing to rezone the approximately 1.15 acre parcel located along Spanish Oaks Drive West from the current zoning of R2 medium-density single-family residential to R4 manufactured mobile home residential. The proposed use for the application has been given as mobile home, and the applicant has indicated as a desire to place a mobile home on the property for residential use. There have been a few rezonings approved in the area specifically for mobile home use in addition to the existing mobile homes and mobile home parks in the area. The application is expected to have little to no impact on the area as it conforms to existing uses already established in the area. The subject property is identified on the comprehensive plan's future land use map as medium-density residential. The comprehensive plan's future land use map does not include or identify any areas within the city limits as manufactured mobile home. However, the current regulations and standards for R4 zoning does meet or exceed the minimum requirements for the current zoning district of R2 with the exception of maximum density. And that would be in the event of a mobile home park, which would have to obtain further approval from the Planning Commission. And I did want to note that there was a written comment submitted for the public hearing that's attached as Exhibit 3 in your agenda.
All right, we'll read that when we have our public hearing. All right, thank you, Casey. We'll open it up for discussion. All right, discussion's closed. We'll have our public hearing. Let's see, we have, I believe it's Hendrik Visser. I usually don't do that, so I'll take that.
My name is Hendrik Visser. I recently acquired that lot. It's catty corner to it, 8031 Oaks Drive. And I've heard what you guys are talking about with the other mobile home parks, and let me tell you that I graduated in 1990 from this Daphne, first graduating class. So I've been in this neighborhood for a while, joined the Air Force, traveled while I did that. Where they're wanting to put that right there is a culvert. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything drains down. It's a valley. I don't even know how you could even call that property even usable. And there are no mobile homes anywhere in that area. They're all nice homes. There are elderly people around there. My neighbors are awesome. They keep their yards up. I don't know why this would even be coming up. I can't understand why they would use the property, number one. And number two, if you are going to use it, let's do something nice with it. Let's build a home there. You know, if you can put a mobile home right there, then you can use pilings or something, some sort of construction to build something that's going to make this neighborhood go up in value, not down. You know, they've been getting rid of these mobile homes. If you drive that neighborhood right there, if you go around, back in the day they had like 2 or 3 mobile home parks over there, okay? And there were always problems, okay? You don't have to listen to me. You can look at your police reports, man. Those are gone away. They're building houses now. They're getting rid of those trailers, and everybody wants that. That's what everybody's looking for. I highly, highly recommend that you do some due diligence on this, because it's not going to benefit Spanish Fort at all to go down that path with manufactured homes. There's plenty of places for that you can do that on the outskirts, you know, but not, this is right next to the Balbus ballpark. The kids play there, you know what I mean? Do we want bring this stuff down. That's pretty much all I have to say, and thank you for letting me speak.
All right, thank you. All right, Lorena Bastian?
Lorena Bastian. I live at 30858 Cemetery Road in the same neighborhood. And we need to have less trailers. We don't need any more mobile homes or anything else like that. We're gradually building this neighborhood up, making it better. People are taking care of the yards. I agree with everything that Hendrik said, that we don't need any more mobile homes in our neighborhood. The previous question I wanted to ask is, what's the difference between R1, R2, and R4? I'm sorry, I'm ignorant.
We don't usually answer questions during the public hearing. This is your time to speak, but we will after the public hearing. David, if you want to, we will address that for you afterwards.
So definitely no mobile home parks or modular parks, absolutely not. And modular's not the right solution for our neighborhood. It needs to be stick-built. But if R2 would allow a stick-built, that's fine, but I don't think R4 is the right thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's all we have signed up. Anybody else wish to speak, though? All right, public hearing's closed. We'll open it up for discussion. David, do you want to answer that question for
Yes, sir.
question for her?
Yes, sir. I think her question was, what's the difference between R1, R2, R3, and R4? Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay. R1 and R2 are single-family residential districts, and they allow basically one single-family home on a lot. The difference is the lot sizes are smaller in R2. R3 would allow for a higher density and allow for potentially some multifamily or duplex, those kind of things, but not the same as a high-density district. R4 is the manufactured mobile home district for the city, and it allows by right a manufactured home on each lot. You can, with Planning Commission approval and meeting all the special provision requirements for mobile home park, you could have a manufactured mobile home park with Planning Commission approval. And then plan unit development provisions also allow for manufactured mobile home parks if you're able to meet all those requirements, but that requires Planning Commission and City Council approval for PUDs. And so the only thing that you can do by right in an R4 is have one manufactured home or mobile home per lot.
So they would only be allowed one mobile home there. It wouldn't be a park.
Unless the comeback met the requirements and went all through the process and got approved.
All right, I was remiss in letting Casey read that letter we had a comment from some folks on this agenda item. Casey, do you have that in front of you? You want to read that? I'll close the public hearing, but we're going to go ahead and read it. I believe they were objecting to it as well.
Mr. Chairman, this is from John Klein at 30895 Joseph Drive. He says, I am writing regarding the agenda item referenced in the subject of this email. We are unable to attend the meeting due to previously scheduled business engagements. My wife and I would like to register our objection to the sudden rezoning of PIN number 242449 Lot 2 Oval Tree subdivision. We are concerned that such arbitrary and capricious rezoning will diminish property values in our neighborhood and those adjacent to us. This spot zoning stands to benefit the parcel's owner to the detriment of neighboring property owners, including us. We are concerned that the proposed rezoning is out of character with our community, contrary to the public good, and will negatively impact the value and enjoyment of adjacent properties. Finally, we believe that a letter delivered on Friday, the 6th of June, constitutes inadequate notice for a hearing scheduled on Monday, the 9th. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
All right, thank you, Casey. All right, we'll open up discussion here with the commission. Anybody have any?
Yeah, just to be clear, so we're considering this lot, the lots on either side of it and the one directly across, those were all R2 currently? Is that right? That and that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, Casey, at our last work session, and maybe y'all can pull it up here, more of a kind of a Google image. I remember us discussing actually showing a few mobile homes. Maybe there were more to the back, but I think in our discussion, you mentioned this area, that there were quite a few around. Now, I'm hearing otherwise from some of the public, and I'm just kind of interested in what we discussed at our last work session. Do we have that Google
So
image?
this map shows more or less the mobile homes in the area currently. And the dark orange color is all R4 mobile home zoning.
Weren't those majority sort of grandfathered in?
Most of them, yes. We have
None
rezoned
of
a
them
few.
were changing.
Well, there have been a few new changes. For instance, this one just to the north on the same street was rezoned to a new mobile home. Same thing up here across from Albus Ballpark. Those were recent rezonings to new R4 zoning.
Do you know if all them mobile homes are still there, or? Skip, no, our public hearing's closed, I'm sorry.
I believe that is one as well. So there's probably another one right there. I don't think that is a mobile home. Most of the mobile homes that are shown here are still there.
What I mentioned in the work session, Mr. Chairman, was again, Casey's, this is the area where we traditionally had mobile home parks. Those have been managed kind of away from the park, but still allowed them to be used under certain circumstances for mobile home use, you know. In this area right here, I think was one because that, as Casey mentioned, we did rezone because it was across the street here. The landowner wanted it. I don't think we had any opposition to that. And then as you go north, there's some more here. I think this is one right here too, potentially. But as I mentioned to you, the question is, in my mind, just from a planning standpoint for you all to think about is, you know, has the area stabilized? Is there a transition that's happening? If there is a transition, where does the transition begin and end? And so, you know, with this area up here having manufactured homes in it, this area having here, you know, this certainly wasn't a stretch that you might say that this is a good place to allow for a manufactured home. The question is, the further you go down, how much further would you go, and what are the uses? And it looks like the further you go south, the more you get into stick-built homes. Here's a manufactured home here, mobile home here. So I'm not saying that there's a yes or no here, because right across the street, you know, there's one. So, you know, this is one of those things that's discretionary with you all as you're looking at it as to what you think is appropriate. What's the neighborhood doing? How is it changing? What do you see the future?
So just for general discussion, I do remember, you know, helping at different times when somebody's home got in such bad disrepair that they needed to remove it and replace it with a mobile home. And we've been, I think we've been real accommodating for those kinds of issues. And the further back you go, I didn't have a real issue with that. As we come forward, I'm leaning a little bit to what I'm hearing from the public now about we got more stick-built homes. There is a kind of a delineation line, I think, right here, you know, south of Malvis Park. But as far as coming forward, I'm thinking that I'm leaning a little bit negative on it.
Casey, due to the topography, it sounds like I believe I've heard that it's pretty, a lot of bad topography on that lot. But you could build a residential home there, you believe? I think we have the landowner here. Would you like to address the commission? You're the applicant, correct? Okay, go ahead.
I'm Blake Bishop. So I purchased the property that is marked out in yellow and the one proceeding north of it. So that's both of the acquisition lots. The lot to the north, due to the property setbacks and the wetland setbacks, it has only about a 3,500 square foot development area. And then the large yellow one there has around 7,500. That includes parking, driveway, home, everything. Is less than 7,500 square feet on that, but the topography is quite steep. There is a gully in it. I already have future plans on how to address that so it goes into the wetlands. There's quite a few trees have fallen through due to washout. So this isn't my first time building in Spanish Fort or on a bad topography area. So I have some prior experience with that. And it would be for personal use, just for me. I have no plans on renting it or anything like that.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Did you say you own this lot and this lot?
Correct. I bought them together.
You've already purchased them?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything on this lot presently?
There is nothing there.
So what is your plan for this lot?
That is whenever I get to it in the future. I don't think I have any plans for it because of the limits on building. It has quite a steep, more steep area.
And so is this going to be your personal residence here?
That is, yeah. And I can only build on the southeast corner right there because of the gully that goes through, like right where the Spanish Oaks Drive, the DR right there. The gully goes right through that point, and then the wetlands are farther back. So,
So when did you acquire these two?
in the month of May 2nd. And I had already gone through with, it had already been wetland surveyed in February. And then speaking, I'm so bad with names, the gentleman over there, about setbacks with it, that's when I proceeded moving forward.
So but you bought this one, you don't plan to use it for anything?
It was a combination buy. The seller was just trying to get rid of both of them.
All right, thank you.
Couple of questions.
Go ahead, yeah. It's open for discussion. Anybody have?
The written comment we have here, make sure they receive the notice on the 6th for a public hearing on the 9th. Is that normal lead time, or did we have an issue here?
We sent them out prior to our deadline to get notices sent out.
Okay, so what is our deadline?
They have to go out no less than 5 days prior to the meeting.
So
They were sent out, I believe, Wednesday.
they received it on Friday the 6th.
Right.
Is that something we should look at to expand this a little bit? Because that's not much of a notice.
We can. That's what statute requires, and that's what we send out. If you think that in this case you need some more time, then you can certainly send out notices again and give some more time, or you can just postpone this to your next meeting and have a public hearing again at that meeting and give people more time to come.
I'm not looking to extend this out, but I think
Okay.
that may be something procedurally we need to look at, because that's not adequate time, not in my opinion. So, Mr. Connor, if you would look at that with maybe some longer notice scenarios to allow people to be here. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with 10 days, honestly. I don't want to see the complexity of a neighborhood changed, and what I see, if you revert back, Casey, to the other screen, I see a lot of R1, whatever it is, through here. A lot of these were grandfathered in. I recognize that. I can't speak for this one. But I don't want to see people making investments in our city with stick-built homes faced with additional manufactured homes. I think that changes what the direction I think we're trying to achieve here. And I know balancing here on a fine line here, but that is bothersome to me.
Well, and I'll piggyback at that. Even with the current requirement, 5 days notice, we still do get quite a few comments opposing. So that, I think that speaks to the issue as well. And so I think I'm also leaning towards not approving this.
Casey, do you have a history of the last time we took an R2 to an R4 in that area? Do you know when we did that the last time?
if you give me a minute, I can look it up.
And this is one of those things why you have a planning commission and you have more than one person, because sometimes these decisions are easier to see. It's either a absolute yes, absolute no, and then other times you have situations where you have to make judgments. And for example, this area right here, I don't know that we had any objections. I don't recall there being anybody objecting to that. And if you were coming in, even in this area, there may not be as much concern about that because it's still in an area and there's already a manufactured mobile home there on the property already. Here, my understanding is there's not one. And again, the question is how far you go, where's your dividing line, if there's no transitioning occurring. So this is one of those ones that requires you just kind of look at it and make a decision. And again, I think in the areas where we had rezoned in the past, they were areas where there had been a mobile home on the property and they were trying to bring one back, or there was a home on there that had either been damaged by fire or by a hurricane or storm, and we were trying to help out. So this would be an expansion in this area going this way for you all to consider. And that's one of those reasons why you have to look at them.
The last R4 zonings were actually on this street in 2021. It was this piece here and then one to the north up here. This one here was rezoned to R4 in 2017. That one was grandfathered, yes. It was rezoned to conform. The other two were new lots.
I don't want to see a complexity of a neighborhood changed. That's my personal opinion. You have these stick-built homes in these areas that have a major investment in what they're doing. Not to say that's not a major investment, because it is. But you're talking about changing the complexity of this area to accommodate this, and I can't get there.
All right, any other discussion? All right, discussion is closed. Do I have a motion? Remember, if you make a motion in the positive and the affirmative, doesn't mean you have to vote yes on that particular agenda item.
Motion to approve case number 250604. Actually, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
603.
603.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Just for the this will be a recommendation to the
city
council for
Yes.
either approval or denial.
Well, now that gets a little, if I recommend a recommendation to approve, then, and we vote in the negative, then we would be forwarding a negative recommendation.
Correct.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding case number 250603.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this motion? All right, roll call, Carol.
Diamond,
Carol will vote no.
Lindsay, Smith,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Lazenby, McMillan.
All right, thank you, Carol. All right, that'll be a negative recommendation to the City Council. All right. Have agenda item 250604, application for minor subdivision plat approval. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's to replat of lots 78 through 83 Garrison Ridge. The location is Garrison Ridge subdivision, and the applicant is Smith, Clark and Associates on behalf of JBL Properties LTD. Casey, staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, these subject parcels are currently undeveloped lots within the Garrison Ridge subdivision. Slide 2388B and 2388C as recorded in the Baldwin County probate records and are identified as lots 78 through 83 on the existing plat. This application proposes to combine the existing 6 individual lots into 3 resulting lots, averaging approximately 0.793 acres each. The resulting lots are proposed to retain frontage on Garrison Drive and will well exceed the minimum required lot size / dimensions for the current zoning classification of R2 medium density single family residential. Staff has reviewed the information as submitted regarding this application and has found all required documentation to be accounted for and in compliance with applicable ordinances and regulations. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve Agenda Item 250604, application for minor subdivision plat approval for replat of lots 78 through 83 Garrison Ridge.
All right, thank you, Casey. We'll open it up for discussion. All right, discussion's closed. We'll have our public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on this agenda item? Public hearing's closed. Any discussion? All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 250604.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Carol, please.
Diamond,
Yes.
Lindsay, Smith,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lazenby, McMillan.
Yes.
All right, motion's approved. We have agenda item 250605, application for zoning change. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's from an R1 to a B3. It's Spanish Fort Boulevard, west of Unity Fiber. The applicant is Parish Mystery and Mehmet Shukla. Casey, your staff report, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this applicant's proposing to rezone the approximately 3.5 acre parcel along US Highway 31 to the west of Unity Fiber from the current zoning of R1 low density single family residential to B3 general business. The proposed use for the application has been given as commercial. The property was recently annexed into the city limits as part of the most recent legislative annexation as R1. The existing conditions and uses in the area are typically heavy commercial to light industrial uses. This application is expected to have little to no impact on the area as the proposed zoning conforms to the existing uses already established in the area. The subject property is not identified on the comprehensive plan's future land use map as it was outside the city limits at the time of the plan's creation. Staff has examined the details of this application and confirmed that all necessary documentation is complete and present. Without the availability of guidance from the current comprehensive plan future land use map, the proposed zoning does appear to be aligned more in conformity to the existing uses in the surrounding area, as well as the general direction of development in this area. For this reason, staff feels there is sufficient evidence in support of agreement to rezone the subject parcel as submitted. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding agenda item 250605, application for zoning change from R1 to B3 for PIN number 120206, US Highway 31, west of Unity Fiber.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Casey. We'll open it up for discussion. All right, discussion's closed. We'll have our public hearing. Anybody wish to speak? All right, public hearing's closed. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding agenda item 250605.
All right, do we have a second? Is that Nancy? Okay, Nancy, all right. All right, roll call, Carol, please.
Diamond,
Yes.
Lindsay, Smith,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lazenby, McMillan.
Yes.
All right, motion's approved. All right, we have agenda item 250606, application for minor subdivision plat approval. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's M&S subdivision. It's Spanish Fort Boulevard. Excuse me, that's one we just.
Same property.
Okay, all right, hold. Spanish Fort Boulevard, west of Unity Fiber, Sawgrass Consulting on behalf of Parish Mystery and Mehmet Shukla. Casey?
So, Mr. Chairman, this is the same property that we just looked at for the rezoning. They are intending to rezone and subdivide the property. The applicants proposes to subdivide the approximately 3.5 acre parcel along US Highway 31 to the west of Unity Fiber into 2 resulting parcels equaling 1.74 acres each. The property was recently annexed into the city limits as part of the most recent legislative annexation as R1. The resulting lots are proposed to retain frontage on US Highway 31 and will well exceed the minimum required lot size / dimensions for the current zoning classification of R1 low-density single-family residential or the proposed zoning of B3 general business. A note has also been added to the proposed plat at the request of the Planning Commission to limit both lots to a single shared curb cut along US Highway 31 at a location to be determined at time of development. Staff has reviewed the information as submitted regarding this application and has found all required documentation to be accounted for and in compliance with applicable ordinances and regulations. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve Agenda Item 250606, application for minor subdivision plat approval for M&S subdivision.
All right, thank you, Casey. All right, any discussion?
Just quick
Yes,
for
sir.
Matthew. Could they share retention on that, or they would not be able to share retention?
Typically, you would not want to. I believe we have shared retention, though, in one other location on Sergeant E.I. Boots. I believe we have a shared detention there on that roadway, so it's not something that has not been done before.
Is that something the city doesn't recommend, or we don't really want that? I think, seems like we would want it.
I believe, if I recall correctly, what we did on that, we required there be some type of agreement between the 2 property owners, because one property owner can make changes to his property that require the pond to be modified. So there would have to be some type of agreement between the property owners in order to do that.
We required when you had, because initially the property's owned by the same property owner. And so if they end up submitting some sort of shared detention, then we require that there be an easement or something of record that outlines the subservient and dominant site and how that's done. For example, I believe Asphalt Services along Old Highway 31 had several parcels. We did some joint detention there. And if you think about it, a 100-lot subdivision that has a detention pond has those same things, but they're depicted on the plat. So if at some point in time in the future they decided to use some shared facilities that way, we just need to make sure that there was appropriate easement or agreement between the property owners as it relates to that.
Yeah, I just think shared detention's smart planning to me, if it can be done.
And on this subdivision plat, after discussions, that's what we're all on, one of the things that we all want to try to do, or you discussed, was to try and minimize the number of curb cuts up and down 31 as best we can, so you are requiring a shared driveway or access for these properties as well.
All right, anybody else?
Yes, sir. The previous item, we forwarded a recommendation to the city council to rezone that one parcel. Now, if we, subsequent to that, create 2 parcels, do we need to revise the recommendation? Is it going to be a recommendation on 2 different parcels instead of the one? Does that make sense?
The rezoning request is for the meets and bounds for the whole site, and so it'll rezone the whole site, and then when he subdivides, it'll still maintain that same zoning classification for both parcels.
All right, anybody else? All right.
The previous, I think I'm correct in saying this, the previous zoning application was for the whole site to be rezoned B3. So it'll be rezoned B3. When you subdivide it, if you approve the subdivision, instead of having 1 B3 lot, you have 2 B3 lots. That's my understanding. Yes, that's correct.
They do. The minimum lot area for a B3 is 12,000 square feet. They're going to have 1.7 acres, which is, what, a lot more than that?
And width and setback, they should also be able to meet the setbacks with requirements.
And we did review all of the basically boundaries and layout of everything with that zoning change in mind.
Do we know what's going in there?
You asking the wrong person.
Peter? We've dealt with you for a long time.
Yeah, so what's the question, sir?
What do you plan on doing?
Papa John's location 2.
Pardon?
Papa John's location number 2, gas station in near future.
For both of them or one
No,
lot?
no, I don't know about my partner, means we own the lot.
And I really shouldn't ask that question, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know what his plans are, my brother-in-law, so we are just gonna divide it because he doesn't want to do anything.
Do you get along with your brother-in-law?
Oh, yeah, we worked, we worked how many years? 18 years? So, yeah, he wants to keep just as an investment property for right now. He doesn't have any plans, but down the road, within next couple of years, I want to put a package store with a gas station. So I would be doing in different phases, not everything at one time.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you. All right, at this point, we'll have our public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody wish to speak? All right, public
just-
hearing's closed. Any discussion?
And Mayor, Chairman, just so we're clear, the mayor asked a question about the use, and we, as we've said before, we want to make sure if somebody's asking for something that we're trying to get the classification that they need. But at the end of the day, as you know, they could be sold tomorrow. So, if someone comes in and they're requesting a B3 when they really only need a B1, then we move them to B1. In this case, if he wants to build a convenience store in the future, then of course B3 would be the appropriate classification for that. I did hear package store, and that raises its own reviews and approvals from alcohol, liquor, those kind of things. And so I don't want him to leave here thinking today that he's got approval for a liquor store. Maybe a great location, but that's not what we're being asked to do here today. What's that? Yeah. But this is a different place. So.
Yeah, I think we all talked earlier, and everything around it's B3, so I think that's where we got our comfort.
Okay, we'll have our public hearing. Anybody wish to speak? Public hearing's closed. Any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 250606.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Carol, please.
Diamond,
Yes?
Lindsay, Smith,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lazenby, McMillan.
All right,
Yes.
motion's approved. All right, we have agenda item, excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yes.
Mayor. I heard the yes, and that's why I started. Agenda item 250607, regulation review. We'll have a public hearing on this agenda item. It's adding regulations related to the approval of temporary uses for construction and equipment and material storage in and along the causeway in the city of Spanish Fort related to the planning, development, construction of the Tensas River Bridge Replacement Project. Casey, staff report, please.
Mayor, Casey's asked me to handle this one, if that's okay. This is a ordinance, amending the zoning ordinance to create a special provision section regarding the construction, the temporary uses for construction and equipment and material storage in and along the causeway, aka Battleship Parkway, in the city of Spanish Fort related to planning, development, and construction of the Tensas River Bridge Replacement Project. As you'll recall, a few months ago, you all had a public hearing and forwarded a positive recommendation for a proposed amendment to allow for temporary use for construction and equipment material storage in this same area for the Mobile River Bridge and Bayway project. But after further analysis, the mayor brought to our attention that the Mobile River and Bayway project is a totally separate and distinct project from the Tensas River Bridge Replacement Project, which is ongoing now. And because we don't normally allow temporary uses, and because this is something unusual, we wanted to make sure that we keep this narrow in focus, because the Tensas River Bridge project, for example, has a 2.5, I think, or 3-year project span for construction. The Bayway project, Mobile River Bridge, may be decades, for all we know, before this is over. And so instead of trying to lump them in and having a lack of control over the uses, it was determined that we would create a separate temporary use special provisions for that project in and of itself. And so it reads exactly the same. as the previous version that you approved. It just says for the Tensas River Bridge project and has the same terms and conditions.
All right, thank you, David. Any discussion?
Make sure this still would go before ALDOT for their approvals.
Yes, sir, it has the same requirements that ALDOT or somebody from ALDOT to sign off that this is a real contractor, that they have a scope of work under this project. And the reason we do that is we wouldn't want somebody to come in under the guise of operating a bridge project, and the next thing they're just selling materials to anybody that comes by, you know. So.
All right, any other discussion? All right, we'll have a public hearing. Anybody wish to speak? Public hearing's closed. Any discussion?
Could you
I
remind
have
me,
a
what
motion?
was the number on this ordinance?
Excuse me?
Was it 250607?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve item 250607. Does this need to go to the city council? Or so we'll make a positive recommendation for adopting this ordinance.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Did I hear? Oh, okay.
Second.
All right, roll call, Carol, please.
Diamond,
Yes.
Lindsay, Smith,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lassby, McMillan.
All right, motion's approved. We now come to our public participation part of our meeting. If you'd like to address the commission, feel free to come up here and
First, thanks for allowing me time to talk to you guys. Second, I want to bring some attention to my neighborhood, which is the Cemetery Road area, that you guys might not be aware of the increased traffic that is happening in that neighborhood. The wonderful ballpark back there, I think you call it Magnolia Ballpark or something. Anyway, is that what it's named? Malvis, okay. Anyway, so I walk my dog there every day. That ballpark is used every day of the week during the week. There are so many children and so many cars going up and down that road. The traffic has increased incrementally, and it's become a problem because nobody stops at the stop signs. Nobody slows. It's a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit there. They're doing 50. So between the ballpark traffic and the church's daycare at the 5 o'clock shift change, the traffic in that neighborhood is unbearable. So when you guys are considering more rezoning, you need to think about that too, and then also get our neighborhood some support because the traffic is unbearable. I've almost been run off the road many times. People on their phone as they're hurrying away, right? And I'm jumping in a ditch. So please, can you help our neighborhood? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr.
Mayor,
Chairman,
do you
if I
want to
may.
address?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. I will have staff meeting in the morning. I'll address this with our chief. I was not aware of Malvis Ballpark being used to the extent you're speaking of, but I'll make a point to drive down there and look at it and see what's going on, because I don't necessarily drive down there every day to see what's going on, but if there's some speed issues, I'll certainly have the police out there to slow them down. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, let's see, we have a few announcements here. The next regular meeting of the Planning Commission will be held Monday, July 14th. A work session will begin at 6 p.m. in the multi-purpose room of the Spanish Fork Community Center, followed by the regular meeting at 6:30 p.m. The next informal work session of the Planning Commission will be held Monday, June 30th at 6 p.m. The submission deadline for the July regular meeting agenda is Tuesday, June 10th at noon. David, we need to address the work session, the special meeting?
Yes, sir. I would
And
just announce, I think you all decided, and Mr. Chairman, this will be at your call. The recommendation from staff is, in order to deal with the hotel site plan applications and review, to have a special meeting at 6 o'clock at our meeting. What's the date for the work session?
The 30th, June 30th.
June 30th at 6 o'clock. It'll be prior to the work session. You'd have a special meeting, and then immediately following that meeting, you'd go into your work session.
All right, so be it. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, this meeting's adjourned.